Hey everyone, Dr. Ritza here, downtown Toronto chiropractor, acupuncture provider, and manual rehab therapist coming to you from the King West Club. So today what we're going to go through is my rehabilitation program for Achilles Tendinopathy. We're going to talk about insertional Achilles Tendinopathy and non-insertional Achilles Tendinopathy. For either of my rehab programs are intensively based on the available research and the best knowledge that we have available about these conditions. And what we're going to talk about is mainly stretching and strengthening. So we're going to talk about stretching the Achilles tendon and the muscles that go into it from the triceps surae, as well as eccentric strengthening of the triceps surae, which has been proven to be a very effective tool and exercise for the rehabilitation process for this injury, which you can read more about on my blog, and basically where we were trying to produce an inflammatory reaction in the tendon so that it heals itself. And then we're also going to talk about some overlooked exercises. So some other muscles in the leg, such as the Tibialis Posterior or the Flexor Digitorum Longus, that support the soleus and the gastrocs and can assist those muscles so that we have less load going through the tendon when we rehabilitate these muscles and get them working strong again. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on stretching the triceps surae, which goes into that Achilles tendon, and we're going to do a little bit of a modification to it. We're going to do a PIR, progressive isometric relaxation, where it's kind of a contract and relax cycle to produce some length and lengthen that gastrocs and soleus that go into the triceps surae of that injured Achilles tendon. And all you need to do is focus on the injured leg, and we're going to just do a typical calf stretch with that modification. So you set up against the wall with the injured leg set back. In this case, it's my barefoot right leg. And what we're going to do is we're going to let the knee come forward to produce a stretch in the back of the calf. And we're going to hold that for about 10 seconds. And then what we're going to do is after that 10 seconds, I'm going to push down into the floor like I'm trying to sprint forward. And hold that for 10 seconds and then relax and deepen the stretch. And then I'm going to push again into the floor like I'm trying to push off without letting the heel come up, and then relax and deepen the stretch. And then push one more time, 10 seconds, relax and deepen the stretch. So what I typically recommend with this exercise is you'll do a hold and relax for about 5 or 6 times at 10 seconds each. Take a break and do 2 or 3 sets of that. I recommend doing this 2 or 3 times throughout the day based on what your time available is. The more you do it, typically the better. Okay guys, so for this exercise, what we're going to be doing is we're doing a closed chain exercise to work the tibialis posterior as well as the fibularis muscle group, which are going to be important for providing general strength and stability to the ankle and to the leg, but also have been shown in terms of the tibialis posterior to assist that soleus muscle and take some strain off of that and the Achilles tendon, which should help with the healing process. So what you do with this exercise, you take your theraband, you tie it fairly tightly around the legs, so tight that moving the legs at all is going to provide quite a bit of resistance, about shoulder width apart. And what we're going to do is work on rolling to the outsides of the feet and then to the insides while keeping those knees straight. And you want to make sure that there's enough resistance in the theraband that this is difficult even rolling towards the outside. You'll also feel some strain into those glute med and glute min on the hips. And what we'll do is an up and a down on both sides is 1 repetition, and you're going to do 3 sets of 10 on both sides. I really like this exercise because again it is closed chain and kind of mimics the demands of being weight bearing. It's a fantastic way to work that tibialis posterior and the fibularis muscle group. Hey everyone, so the next thing we want to do is focus on the Flexor Digitorum Longus muscle. It's a muscle that travels from the back of the calf into the 4 toes, including the big toe, and it works on curling the toes downwards as well as plantar flexing the foot. This muscle is going to assist the soleus and the gastrocs in pushing off, and when it's strong, it will take some load and some tension off of the Achilles so that less force is going through it and it's less likely to get injured. So what we need for this one is something to sit on, like a stool or a bench. You need your resistance band, and you can do 3 sets of 10 of these guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the resistance band around the 4 toes, In this case, we're going to put our heel on the ground. I'm going to elevate just a little bit so everyone can see with this camera angle, and we're going to work on bringing the foot up and then plantar flexing the foot and the toes down. And bringing the foot up and plantar flexing the foot and the toes down. And then make sure you do it on the ground, 3 sets of 10, up, plantar flex down, up, plantar flex down, and you should feel a good little burn in the back of the calf. This is a muscle that's rarely worked on in isolation. So the next step we want to do is we want to do some eccentric exercises to work the Achilles and work that triceps surae to try and produce an inflammatory reaction so that we can get the collagen and the other fibers in the Achilles tendon healing properly, which has been shown in most of the literature to work quite well for this condition. So if it's an insertional Achilles tendinopathy, which is where there's pain right at the heel bone, we're going to do it a little bit differently than if it was a non-insertional. Typically for the insertional Achilles tendinopathy, we don't want to produce too much dorsiflexion. That's where the foot bends upwards. So we're just going to do the eccentric exercises on flat ground. And I'm going to demonstrate it with and without weights. What you want to do is you want to have a little bit of pain about halfway through, or discomfort halfway through or towards the end of your third set of 10 to 15 repetitions, which means that we're actually getting some sort of result and some changes in the tendon. So how we're going to do this is you're going to set up against the wall. We're going to pretend that my right foot is the injured one. So we go up on the left leg, transfer over to the right, and slowly lower over 5 or 6 seconds down onto that right side. We go up again onto the left, transfer over to the right, and down over 5 or 6 seconds on the right hand side. What we can do is we can also add some weights. I'm just going to show that, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult if you have a fairly strong Achilles tendon and triceps surae muscle group. For those that are suffering with insertional Achilles tendinopathy, and eccentric exercises aren't quite difficult enough with just your body weight, we want to add some weight to it. So what I've got here is a 30-pound dumbbell. You can go a little bit heavier, or some of the research out there suggests using a weighted backpack, which I'm not a particular fan of just because I think it might add a little bit of extra strain to the back. So in this case, I'm just going to hold it on the side that I have the Achilles problem on. So same exercise, we go up against the wall. I've got one hand for support. I go up on the left, transfer over to the right, and slowly lower down over 6 seconds. And I can already feel that this is a lot more difficult on me. And if I had picked up a 50 or 60 pound weight, it might be challenging to complete it. So if you're doing the body weight exercise and you don't find it quite difficult enough, you can step it up and grab a barbell, or a dumbbell in this case. So for the exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to get up on the stair. You're going to be elevating yourself on your good leg, transferring over to the bad leg or the injured Achilles, and slowly lowering yourself down for 5 or 6 seconds, as I'm going to demonstrate now. So we're going to pretend that my right leg is the injured one, or the right Achilles. So we raise ourselves up on the left, transfer over to the right, and slowly lower ourselves down over 5 or 6 seconds down on that right side. And then we come back over to the left, push ourselves up, transfer over to the right on our tippy toes, and slowly lower ourselves down over 5 or 6 seconds. And then come back over, transfer up, go back down, making sure that the knee and the ankle and everything stay in good alignment, and slowly lower ourselves down. What we can do as well is that if we are not finding that difficult enough, we can pick up a weight, or use a weighted backpack and raise ourselves up and do the exact same thing, holding the weight on the side of the injury and slowly lowering yourselves down, which will make it a lot more difficult.